Welcome to this Architectural Explainer. I'm so glad you're joining me today because, well, we're looking at something truly extraordinary. Have you ever walked right past a masterpiece without even realizing it's there? It happens more often than you'd think. Today, we're diving into one of the Ottoman Empire's most brilliant, yet brilliantly hidden gems, the Rüştem Paşa Mosque in Istanbul.
Picture this. It's the 16th century in Istanbul. You're standing right in the heart of the Taktakali market, right on the edge of the Golden Horn. And it is absolute chaos. It's packed shoulder to shoulder with merchants, the air is incredibly thick, the ground is damp, and the noise of all that daily commerce is just deafening. Now imagine you are Mimar Sinan, the legendary master architect of the empire. You're handed the ultimate design challenge. Build a place of profound spiritual silence and jaw-dropping beauty exactly right there, right in the middle of the madness. I mean, how on earth do you even begin to pull that off?
So, Section 1, the hidden masterpiece mid-market. To really get why this sanctuary is so special, we first need to know who actually asked for it. This grand project was commissioned back in 1561 by Grand Vizier Rüştem Paşa. He was the husband of Suleiman the Magnificent's daughter, Mihrimah Sultan. Now, unfortunately, Rüştem Paşa passed away the very same year construction kicked off, but the vision didn't die with him. His wife, Mihrimah Sultan, stepped up, took the reins, and saw this completely unique structure through to its completion around 1563 or 1564.
And the sheer contrast Sinan achieved here is just mind-blowing. On one hand, you have the everyday reality of Taktakale, loud, humid, overflowing with people and goods. And then, just steps away, you have the interior of the mosque, a serene, elevated, almost unbelievably quiet sanctuary. Sinan didn't just design a building. He engineered an entirely different atmospheric reality right in the middle of the city's hustle and bustle.
Which brings us to Section 2, Sinan's solution, the elevated platform. Because how do you physically separate a holy space from a damp, noisy market? You can't just build thicker walls. No, Sinan realized he had to literally lift the mosque up into the sky.
Enter the concept of the sabasman. Instead of building on street level, Sinan designed a massive elevated base. It's essentially a platform resting right on top of a whole network of vaulted shops, cellars, and warehouses. And by doing this, he actually solved two massive problems at once. Environmentally, it raised the prayer hall far away from the noise and the dampness of the Golden Horn. And economically, the rent collected from those very shops directly beneath the mosque provided a steady stream of revenue to maintain the structure above. Talk about a brilliant win-win scenario.
All right, moving on to Section 3, hidden stairs and the double portico. Because this mosque is basically floating above the city, just getting inside is an experience all its own. Mimar Sinan deliberately crafted this secretive, transitional spatial tour to shift your mindset from the chaotic market to a quiet, spiritual sanctuary.
It happens in 3 distinct steps. Step 1, you're down in the gritty, chaotic market streets. Then, Step 2, you find one of these 2 rather unassuming enclosed stone staircases. As you climb up these dark, quiet steps, the noise of the city literally just fades away behind you. And then, Step 3, boom! You emerge onto this stunning, open, sunlit terrace and courtyard surrounded by elegant archways. You've essentially teleported from a claustrophobic alleyway into a protected outdoor oasis, hovering right over the city skyline.
Once you step into that courtyard, you're greeted by something pretty rare in Ottoman architecture, a double portico. So Sinan designed this deep, domed inner colonnade, which is beautiful on its own, but then he added a second outer structure with these wide, sweeping wooden eaves. Why go through all that trouble? Well, he knew this was a massive commercial district. During Friday prayers or holy days, the congregation was absolutely going to overflow the main hall. This clever double layer meant that even the worshippers stuck outside in the courtyard were completely protected from the glaring sun or unexpected heavy rain. Okay, let's go inside. Section 4, octagonal infrastructure and spaciousness. The absolute second you walk into the harem, the main worship area, you are instantly struck by the sheer, open volume of the space. And to pull that off, Sinan really had to flex his engineering muscles.
Because holding up a massive stone dome is no joke. Sinan utilized this brilliant octagonal support system. The massive weight of that central dome doesn't just sit heavily on the walls. It's perfectly distributed across 8 massive pillars. They call them filaya, or elephant legs. 4 of these stand completely free in the space, while the other 4 are cleverly integrated right into the outer walls.
and all of this weight is balanced out by an intricate network of half-domes and squinches. It's basically a masterclass in static equilibrium.
But here's the real so what of all that complex engineering. By pushing the heavy structural load onto those 8 specific pillars, Sinan could push the walls themselves outward. He recessed them to create these deep, beautiful alcoves. And inside those recesses, he tucked intricate wooden galleries for women and the muezzins. This completely hides the structural bulk at the edges of the room. The result? The central prayer area feels incredibly airy, open, and totally unburdened.
Now for the really breathtaking part. Section 5. The Pinnacle of Iznik Tiles. While the engineering is definitely world-class, what truly puts the Rüştem Paşa Mosque on the global map is what's covering those walls. We're shifting gears from structural genius to just absolute, show-stopping artistry.
Seriously, look around the interior. It is a visual feast. The walls, the massive pillars, and remarkably, even the column capitals are practically seamlessly blanketed in what is arguably the world's richest, most exquisite collection of 16th century classical Iznik tiles. The artistry just flows uninterrupted from the floor all the way up to the very base of the main dome. There's even a highly revered, specially designed tile panel depicting the Kaaba in Mecca, which really grounds the deep spiritual focus of the era.
And it's not just the sheer amount of tiles, it's the staggering variety. There are over 40 different botanical and geometric motifs used throughout this space. Over 40. As you look closely, you'll spot meticulously painted tulips, carnations, hyacinths, pomegranate flowers, sprawling vine leaves. It is literally an eternal, blooming ceramic garden. And there's one detail here that tile experts will travel across the globe just to see. It's a very specific color known as Mercan Kremiziza, or coral red, sometimes called tomato red. Now this was a highly volatile, incredibly difficult to produce embossed glaze developed by master artisans in Iznik during the mid-16th century. It was so tricky that if the kiln temperature was off by even a few degrees, this beautiful red would just turn into a muddy brown. So the vibrant, raised, absolutely flawless red tiles you see in this mosque, they represent the undeniable zenith of Ottoman ceramic art.
Now, with so much intense color and pattern going on, a lesser architect might have accidentally overwhelmed the senses, but Sinan was a master of visual balance. He contrasted those dizzying, dazzling Iznik tiles with the mimbar, the pulpit, which is carved entirely from pure, solid marble. It has delicate geometric carvings, sure, but it lacks color entirely. This elegant, understated marble actually grounds the space, acting as a much-needed visual anchor in this vast sea of vibrant ceramics.
All right, Section 6, Light, Acoustics, and Static Balance. Let's pull back from the tiles for a second and appreciate the invisible math running quietly in the background here. Getting a sanctuary to function flawlessly in such a difficult location took incredible foresight.
Take the lighting, for example. The mosque is pierced with dozens of windows, especially around the base of the dome, to flood the whole space with natural light. But here's the catch. Sinan knew perfectly well that glossy ceramic tiles basically act like mirrors. If direct sunlight hit them at the wrong angle, the glare would literally blind the worshippers. So he mathematically calculated the exact angles of the windows to ensure the sunlight beautifully illuminates the colors without ever creating a harsh, distracting glare. Genius, right?
On the exterior, tucked into the western corner, stands a single minaret. It's seamlessly integrated into that elevated platform we talked about earlier. Over the centuries, this minaret has actually taken a beating. It's been struck by lightning and damaged by earthquakes, but because Sinan's original architectural vision was just so robust, it has always been faithfully rebuilt exactly as he intended it. And tracking the mosque's timeline from the 1560s all the way to today reveals something incredible. We all know Istanbul is in a highly seismic zone. It gets major earthquakes. Yet this delicate-looking tile-covered jewel box has survived city-leveling quakes for centuries. How? Remember that vaulted sub-basement, the platform of shops it sits on? It doesn't just raise the building up, it acts as a massive shock absorber. It proves that Sinan's engineering was every bit as resilient as his art was beautiful.
Ultimately, what this explainer really highlights is that the Rüştem Paşa Mosque is the textbook definition of a vakıf külliyesi. It was never meant to be some isolated, untouchable museum piece. It was cleverly engineered to be a living, breathing, self-sustaining part of the city. The commerce flows beneath it, physically and economically, supporting the profound spiritual tranquility right above it. The sacred and the secular existing in perfect engineered harmony.
Mimar Sinan looked at the loudest, most chaotic market in the known world and saw the absolute perfect place to build a masterpiece of silence. It really makes you wonder, doesn't it? As we navigate the endless crowds and deafening noise of our own modern cities today, where are the hidden sanctuaries that we might be walking right past? Thank you so much for exploring this phenomenal piece of architectural history with me. Until next time, keep looking up and keep seeking out the hidden beauty around you.